So what kind of questions are you asking on your sales calls? Are you still trying to figure out who the decision maker is? Are you still trying to uncover what the budget is, get the timeline for when the decision will be made and how much they're going to spend? Let me ask you something. How many other people are asking those same questions? Are you able to differentiate yourself by asking the kinds of things that anybody else could ask, or more importantly, more significantly, the same questions that have been asked for the last 40 years? Look, sales is a different game now. You can't just walk someone from page 7 of the playbook to page 8 of the playbook and expect that you're going to be treated any differently than anybody else who's working from the same playbook. You've got to understand what makes you different. I've said it a million times. If you cannot differentiate, you cannot sell. So that applies to your questioning too. It's not just about asking questions with an accent or with different words or anything. You have to come from a completely different place. You have to come from your point of differentiation. You have to understand what you bring to the table that nobody else does, and then make the conversation about that. Set the tone for what you want to talk about from the outset. Ask questions that nobody else has asked and that very few people are likely to ask, and you're going to get engagement on a completely different level. And that's what you're looking for. Engagement drives that connection. Connection drives attention. And when you have that attention, you can have conversations and talk about things that you can't if you're asking the same tired old questions from the sales manual that was written sometime in the mid to late of the last century. So I want you to think about what differentiates you. I want you to think about how that differentiation is going to provide value to the person that you want to talk to. I want you to understand what the outcome of that value proposition is going to be, and then have the conversation about that. The really interesting thing here is that when you can engage someone at that level, they're going to tell you who's the decision maker. They're going to tell you how much they're planning to spend and their timeline. And not only will they give you who the decision maker is and what their budget and timeline is, but they're also going to make more room in that budget for you than they were planning, because you're going to talk to them about something they weren't aware of. You're going to talk to them about something that they weren't quite sure was possible. You can't budget or plan for something that you don't know of. If you don't know what you're up to, if you don't know what is even possible or what can happen by working with somebody, how the hell can you budget for that? So I don't think the budget matters, because you're going to talk to them about something different than they had anticipated anyway. Think about this. Stop for a second and think about this. Now go back and replay the last 4 or 5 sales calls that you've been on, and recognize and understand how boring you've been, and switch it up. You're going to notice a difference right away. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I put new stuff out all the time. Go to my website, check out my blog, jeffbajorek.com. Really, really appreciate you spending a few minutes with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.